You wake up every single morning feeling like you are already behind your schedule. The alarm rings, and your first instinct isn't to breathe, but to check your phone. You are part of a race you never signed up for, running toward a finish line that doesn't exist. Your desk is a battlefield of papers, and your mind is a browser with too many tabs open. You carry your work everywhere, in your pocket, in your car, and in your head at dinner. We were told that busy equals important, and that exhausted equals successful. But look at yourself in the mirror. Does that reflection look like a winner to you? You are tired of being tired, yet you are afraid to stop because you think you'll lose everything. You run faster and faster, but the scenery of your life never actually changes. It is 2 a.m., and the blue light of your screen is the only thing keeping you company. You go to the gym to escape, but you spend the whole hour scrolling through someone else's life. You are stuck in traffic, screaming inside, wondering where all your time went. Even buying groceries feels like a high-pressure task on your never-ending to-do list. You have all the information in the world at your paws, but you have no wisdom. You sit in beautiful parks, but your mind is stuck in a spreadsheet from last Tuesday. The city lights look beautiful, but to you, they just look like a grid of endless obligations. Your body is starting to scream, "Stop." But your ego keeps whispering, "Just one more hour." You eat your meals in 5 minutes, barely tasting the food, already thinking about the next task. You travel the world, but you carry the weight of your office in your suitcase. You lie on your sofa, paralyzed by the sheer volume of things you think you should be doing. You stand on the rooftop and realize you are just a small part of a very loud, very broken system. Sometimes you just sit on the stairs and wish the world would stop spinning for a second. You dread picking out your clothes because every outfit reminds you of another place you have to be. You are sitting under a fluorescent light, alone, realizing that the hustle has stolen your soul. Then something shifts. You stop looking at the race and start looking at yourself. You realize that you don't need more time. You need more focus. You find a quiet corner, put away the noise, and ask, what actually matters? You notice a single leaf falling and realize the world is beautiful when you aren't rushing. You take your phone, the source of your constant anxiety, and you simply put it away. You look at your list of 100 tasks and you realize that 80% of them are useless. You start to cook slowly, focusing on the smell, the heat, and the rhythm of the knife. You sit in silence and discover that the quiet isn't empty. It is full of answers. You learn the most powerful word in any language, no. Saying no to the wrong things gives you the energy to say yes correctly. You watch the rain and realize that nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. You study the math of life. Doing less, but doing it with more power, leads to better results. You walk through the crowd, but you are no longer part of the panic. You have your own pace. The 80-20 rule becomes your religion. Focus on the vital few. Ignore the trivial many. You walk on the beach and realize that your paw prints are the only things you should be leaving behind. You turn off the digital noise, and suddenly, you can hear your own heart beating again. You stop reading how-to blogs and start reading books that change how you see the world. You learn that life is like a garden. If you don't prune it, the weeds will take over. You wake up when your body is ready, not when a machine tells you to. You look at the clock and realize that time is a tool, not a prison guard. You write down one single goal for the day, just one, and you feel a weight lift off your shoulders. You stand on a mountain and realize that the view is better when you climb slowly. You learn that a single perfect line is worth more than 1,000 messy ones. You look in the mirror again, and for the first time in years, you recognize the cat looking back. The first rule of the anti-hustle is removing every possible digital temptation from sight. You work in short, intense bursts followed by long, intentional periods of doing absolutely nothing. You narrow your life down to the top 3. If it isn't in the top 3, it doesn't exist today. You drink water, you breathe, and you let your mind wander without a destination. You realize that multitasking is just a fancy way of saying doing many things badly. You put on your headphones and create a fortress of solitude around your work. You go to a cafe to enjoy the coffee, not to use their Wi-Fi for 3 hours. You start deleting meetings from your calendar like you're cleaning out a messy closet. You learn to think in sketches and diagrams, simplifying the complex into the essential. You realize that your best ideas come when you are staring at the ceiling, not a screen. You walk past the ticking clocks and realize you are finally in sync with your own rhythm. You treat your attention like gold because it is the most valuable thing you own. You simplify your physical life. Simple food, simple clothes, simple routines. You stretch your body and feel the tension of the last 5 years finally melting away. You have a hard stop. When the sun goes down, the work stays in the drawer. You rediscover the joy of a physical book and the way paper feels under your paws. You exercise for the feeling of movement, not to burn off the guilt of a donut. You send shorter emails. You say more with fewer words. You save everyone's time. You look at your reflection and see that the dark circles under your eyes are fading. You watch the sun rise and realize that every day is a fresh chance to do less. You check your finances and realize that by doing less, you are actually earning more. You put your laptop under a stack of books. It is not your master anymore. It's a tool. You sit on your porch and realize that boredom is actually just peace in disguise. You draw a circle around your focus, and you don't let anything break that line. You stand in the forest and realize you are finally home, right here in the present moment. The world will try to pull you back. It wants you to be as stressed as everyone else. People will brag about how little they slept, and you will just smile and keep your silence. You see the hustle culture memes, and you realize they are just propaganda for burnout. Sometimes you'll feel the old itch to check your emails at midnight. Don't scratch it. You stand still while the world rushes, and you realize that stillness is a superpower. You tell your boss no for the first time, and you realize the sky doesn't fall down. You look at old photos and you don't miss that version of yourself at all. You have to be brave enough to be unproductive in a society that worships output. Let the phone ring. If it is truly important, they will call twice. You see the younger ones making your old mistakes, and you wish you could tell them to slow down. Protecting your peace is a full-time job, but the pay is your sanity. You realize that a status symbol is just a fancy chain you bought with your own time. Progress isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's a slow, beautiful staircase. You watch the coffee drip and realize that the wait is just as important as the drink. You learn to love the empty spaces in your schedule. They are where your soul breathes. You turn off the TV and listen to the sound of your own house. It's a beautiful song. You walk away from the noise and realize that you never needed to be there anyway. You understand that money is just something you trade your life for. Choose your trades wisely. You do yoga not to be flexible, but to learn how to stay calm when things are difficult. You erase the whiteboard of your old life and leave it blank for a while. You drive with no music, just the wind, and you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You lie in bed and realize that sleep is the ultimate act of rebellion. You write your own definition of success. It doesn't involve a corner office. You look at the stars and realize that in the grand scheme of things, your deadline doesn't matter. Success isn't about how much you can do. It is about how much you can leave behind. You look at your bank account and realize that focus pays better than frantic activity. You eat breakfast overlooking the mountains and realize you are finally rich in time. You put your own work out into the world, and it is better because it was made with love, not stress. Your wall is no longer covered in tasks, but in the values that guide your life. You walk into the ocean and feel the water wash away the last remains of the hustle. You spend hours on a single piece of art, and you don't care if anyone ever sees it. You water your garden and realize that growth happens in its own time. You can't force it. You travel now to see the world, not to escape your life at home. You cook with friends and realize that connection is the only output that matters. You wear your clothes with a new kind of confidence. You aren't playing a role anymore. You close your laptop, and your mind stays closed to work until tomorrow morning. You stand in a field and feel the wind in your fur, knowing you are exactly where you belong. You live in a house that feels like a sanctuary, not a storage unit for your stress. You look at the camera and you don't see a victim of the system. You see a free cat. You play music just for the sound of it, not to improve yourself. You turn off the lamp and you fall asleep in 10 seconds because your mind is quiet. You tell the world to stop hustling, and you mean it with every fiber of your being. You sit on a park bench and you are the most content person in the entire city. Your eyes are bright, your fur is clean, and your heart is steady. You are walking toward a future that you designed, one intentional step at a time. Now it is your turn. Stop the race. Start the life. Remember this one single rule for the rest of your life. Less is always more.